Today, this is Paul again. I want to talk about a subject which, with somewhat the period of time, I can be a little bit blasé about, but let me tell you, not at the times. I'm talking about a subject that a lot of people have never experienced, and that's electroconvulsive therapy, which we know as ECT. Back in medical school in 1973, I had my first major depression, and after many, many weeks not knowing what it was, and several weeks of finally figuring it out and being treated by the guy who changed my life in St. Louis, I was hospitalized there on a rather emergent basis, and no meds worked for me then. They weren't very good. And after a couple of weeks in the hospital, I think it was me, I said, I want ECT. And boy, he jumped on that. He knew, he was waiting for me to say that. And after about 3 treatments, I was back to me. And I couldn't believe it. I don't think he could believe it, because afterwards he taped me talking about the whole thing. I went back to my medical school rotation and was fine for 3 years. And by 76, I was in my medical residency in San Francisco. And 3 years into that, 2 years into that. And I was not married. I didn't have any support group. But this time I knew earlier what was going on. And I didn't want to wait. So I called Dr. McClure back in St. Louis. And I remember saying pretty much nothing to him except, I am having it again, and I want to come back to St. Louis and get zapped. And he said, well, come on over. And I did. I remember it was a westbound, eastbound 747 compared to the song. And I had about 8 or 10 treatments as an outpatient, and back to my rotation, I think, within 3 weeks, as if nothing had happened. By the next 3 treatments, I did not need hospitalization. I was treated with medications. Medications got a whole much better, although they still take 3 to 6 weeks to kick in. You're reassured that they are going to kick in, even though you're going through the despair of despair while they do. And I would take time off sometimes from whatever I was doing, like in 82, and I think 10 years later. And the last depression I had was in actually just 4 years ago, which would be 1914. That had some stressors to cause it, and they were major stressors related to work, not due to patient care, but to personal things and professional things related to my office. Again, I wanted instant gratification because I pretty much was on all the medications I knew that worked or didn't have side effects. I went to my psychiatrist here, and he could tell I was almost there. I was there, meaning far gone. For the first time in my life, suicidal. So nothing in Modesto was available, so I went up to Sacramento, had about 10 treatments, and it didn't work this time. So I basically signed myself out, and came back here, and I had intensive daily treatment juggling, and yeah, I get better and have been better ever since. Yeah, you need some now and then tweaking. I think that's a bad word. Yeah, I did have tweaking of medications when I went one way or the other, legal medications. With that, I'll turn it over to the other member of our group who has also experienced ECT. And I hope this has been informative.